At She Can, we record women's stories because it's easier to be what you can see. And I'm really excited to talk to Neeraja Raj today. Neeraja, welcome to She Can. You're a screenwriter and director working in animation and film. And your films have featured in really important big festivals such as South by Southwest, Tribeca, BAFTA, and more. You're one of Variety's top 10 animators to watch list. You're a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree. You have been a part in creating the She Creates Change series for gender equality, and your desire is to tell authentic and emotionally captivating stories. You also were honored with a Young Director Award. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you do.
Thank you for that amazing introduction, Stephanie. That was awesome. Yeah, so I'm a filmmaker, a storyteller, a writer, a director, and I love creating new stories and tales, unseen, things that nobody has explored before, or things that have been explored before, but with a different perspective and a different lens. Um, and yeah, I think ever since I was a kid, I've always wanted to tell stories. And when I was growing up, I remember I would make like little art books and like little stories and like bind them into books and then would give it out to the neighborhood kids. And everyone would read because it would have like these little pop-ups and you could open like a little page, like a little door in the page and it'll go to the next one. It was very artsy. And then I also used to love music and I would like basically taught myself the guitar and the ukulele. And I discovered as the years went on that all of these different artistic pursuits of mine combined together is essentially animation, music, writing, crafting, all of it is, it's like, yeah, it gets into the whole medium of animation, and that's why I do what I do.
Nirja, so when did you realize that animation is your thing? And it's also quite technical, right? You have to be really wanting to learn all these technical languages on the computer to do what you do. When did you realize, this is my medium, that this is, how did you fall into it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I think it was a natural process of growing up in my teens and the entire time feeling like animation and art and storytelling is what I want to do with my life and what gives me the most happiness. And it's kind of frowned upon within South Asian communities to pursue art as a career because
Mm.
obviously art has its risks. Like it's either you go big or you go home, and there's no in between with making it as an artist. And I think because of that, there were a lot of concerns going into this field. But at the end of the day, I felt like if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what else I'd be doing. Like this is what
Mm.
feels the most natural to me.
Nirja, so tell us a little bit more about this incredible medium that you work with. It's a very powerful medium. Animation and film is the medium that most people resonate with. How do you how do you live with that power that you have when telling those stories? What do you think is important about your power as a storyteller in that medium?
Yeah, I feel like animation is unique. It's one of the oldest filmmaking techniques in the world. It's one of the first, I would say, starting with Edward Mybridge's the rotation, the horse, and
Mm.
I don't know if you've seen it, but that's essentially animation. It's just like frame by frame, made to move very quickly. So to the eye, it feels like the horse and the rider are traveling through time. And I think that with animation, you're able to sensitively cover issues that we may not be able to do justice to in live action. For example, sexual abuse, or like from my recent films, menstrual exile, which is a practice that happens in South Asian communities where when you're having your period, they basically say that you're impure, so you need to be away from the family and they put you in a separate room and they don't touch you, they don't talk to you for the length of your period, and it's called menstrual exile, and it's terrible practice that is slowly I think they banned it in several places, but people are still doing it because of culture.
Mm,
But not to detract. So basically, menstrual exile and yeah, water scarcity. Like I feel like with animation, you're able to uh, do it in a way that's like a bit more abstract, but also conveying the information that you want to convey. And
yeah.
so yeah, as a filmmaker, it's really interesting to see how, because you're building the world from scratch. Like it's not like you can put a camera somewhere and that's the scene.
Mm,
But with animation, you're building like each element. Like if I want like I don't know, like something like this in it, I have to draw that or I have to make
yeah.
that. And so it's like, yeah, it's very intentional, the art form.
And Nirja, you have really, you're in a corner of animation where you really do films that have real impact. They have social impact, they have real impact for the world. How, how do you see your future in that?
I mean, I feel like I only realized how impactful films can be, or at least the power that I have with my filmmaking when I first created this, my first social impact film called The Girl Who Built a Rocket. And that was in 2021. And it was during, there were three Mars missions that were going out into space.
Mm,
And in order to shift the spotlight onto the equally important search for water here for everyone on Earth, Water Aid started a campaign during the pandemic. And they enlisted me, production company Nexus Studios, who represent me, to create a short film about a young Malagasy girl looking for water in Madagascar for her family. And that film did so well, despite, it was COVID, everyone was looking inward. And yet, despite all of that, they had their best year. People were watching the film um, on their tellies and then donating to WaterAid. And they had like an 18% engagement upmark. And that was when I realized, like, wow. And it was crazy to me because there were people from other parts of the world, friends, because I'm a multicultural kid. So I have friends who, one of them was vacationing in Thailand and they saw it on the
wow.
television in Thailand. And I was like, wow, it's like it's really going everywhere and it's really changing people's lives. And when I had that kind of understanding that my films could do that, that was when I was like, oh, before what I wanted was to make people smile. If somebody's having a bad day, like I just want them to watch my film and smile.
Yeah.
But now I know that I can aim for more than that. Like I can actually impact people's lives for the better. And going forward, I'm trying to be more conscious about that and um, make sure that the films that I make are impactful in more ways than one.
Yeah, that's amazing. Nirja, so what qualities do you feel you hold to be so good at what you do? And you have an incredible resume at a fairly young age. So you're obviously very creative. You are able to hold really big visions and put them in practice. What else do you feel you have that you bring to the table that really serves you every day?
Mm. I think one is my weirdness. I think everyone has a little bit of weird in them, a little or a lot. But I think with me, I fully embrace my weird side. I embrace my childhood spirit. I think things that I would have or did get bullied for when I was a child, I utilize that now because as adults, like we don't judge people that way anymore. And it's like, and it's everyone has their own quirk. So I think be weird, be unapologetically yourself. Um, Also, uh, I think be driven in a sense, like I think with like a lot of people have a lot of inhibition. They're like, oh, I don't know if I should ask them because if I ask them, they might say no. But it's better to get a no than to like be left wondering.
Hmm.
And I apply that with everything, like in all aspects of life. You need to ask, like closed mouths don't get fed, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel you've given so many amazing tips already, Nirja, but give us some top tips for people who are starting out in your area. They're excited to or studying to become filmmakers or animators. What top tips would you give them?
I would say just explore, don't be afraid to make mistakes because I've been doing this for a decade now and well, more than a decade if you count my teenage years, but just explore different mediums, see what fits your vibe, what speaks to you as an artist, what's in here, like dive deep, come back out, explore. I think it's so good to have fun, make mistakes when you're young because you have that time to figure not just yourself, but also your art. And then, yeah, I would say like listen to criticism because I feel like a lot of people would hear criticism and be like, no, like I don't care about that. Or it would go the other way where they'd be like, oh no, my work is terrible. Like I'm gonna throw it all in the bin. I feel like we need to find a happy medium where we take advice that we feel fits best with the story that we're trying to tell. So take constructive criticism, but don't take don't take bad advice, basically.
Yeah. What do you feel are your main challenges, Nirja,
While I was studying the medium or currently?
currently?
I feel like there is a fear that I might be put in a box. And I feel like, to be very frank, like I think being a person of color, I do get a lot of projects that are like, oh, she can do this because the character is a person of color. But it's a very heavy burden to take. Like one person can't tell the stories of such a myriad of different kinds of people. Like it's not a monolith. So not only is the burden of representation heavy on my shoulders, but it's also there is a part of me that wishes that I could be seen for more than just my culture, because that's not all I have to give to the table, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And so it's a fine balance because while I love telling those kind of stories and telling stories of my people, it's not the only thing that interests me.
yeah.
Because like one of the films that I'm most known for, which is Meow or Never, that was about a cat in space looking for the meaning of life.
Mhm.
And, there was a dog. It was nothing to do with anything on Earth, really.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do weird films like that.
And you're a citizen of the world, Nirja, and I think that comes across. And you care about your people and your background, but you also care about other stories that need to
Exactly,
be told.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Nirja, so what plans and dreams and goals do you have for the next years?
So yeah, I made a dream at like I think it was like 13 that I want to make feature films and I haven't achieved that yet. So I'm slowly climbing the ranks to get to that goal of directing my first feature and potentially many more. But this year I'm working on three different short films. Um, and it's really exciting because I don't know, Stephanie, if you're a fan of K-dramas or K-pop or Korean culture. Are you?
My children tell me about it.
Okay. So I've been a big fan of Korean media, Korean films like Bong Joon-ho's films or Lee Chan-dok or Lee Chan-dong or just K-dramas in general since I was like a teenager again. And I never within the realm of like my imagination, never did I think that, oh, one day I'd like to direct a film with Koreans and Korean in the Korean language. Because how many hoops would I have to jump to do that,
Mhm.
right? To shoot a film in Korea. So I never dreamt of it. But this year I got the opportunity to go to Korea for 22 days, sponsored by Chanel to shoot a film for the Busan International Film Festival. And it's like it's crazy because for me it feels like the maybe it's not even manifestation because I didn't even dream of it. But the universe has presented me with this opportunity and
Yeah.
I would be foolish not to take it. So yeah, so basically, I'm exploring new grounds this year, making a film in a language that I don't speak.
Amazing, Nirja. I love that. And I'm so grateful for you to take the time to tell your story, your exciting prospects, your exciting year of 2024 of pushing the boundaries, doing new things. And I'm really excited to watch this space and see what else you're going to do in the next years.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for having me on She Can. It's an honor to be here and talk all things film.